So, wonderful good evening. This is an English LinkedIn audio live, and I'm seeing a few people now already joining our first ever LinkedIn audio for the composites industry. Our topic today will be recycling only, recycling composites. And I have a panelist here, which is Maximilian Schultes from FRP Composites Solution out of Canada. Hi, Maximilian, how are you doing?
Good evening, good afternoon for morning from wherever you're joining in. I'm doing very well, Ilkay. Thank you for the invitation, and I'm excited to talk about recycling and what we can do and where we need to go.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for taking your time. And yes, we have a time difference, I guess, from about 6 hours from Bayreuth to Canada, and a few rules for you. Basically, you may be the first time in such a LinkedIn audio format. Let me introduce you this LinkedIn audio format so that you know how you can handle this LinkedIn audio format, because it's quite interesting and quite an interesting format for the engagement with the community. How this works here on this LinkedIn audio is, if you want to react, there is a react button down in your box, on your live box here, that is signaled with a smiley. If you press on it and let's try it, you can show a reaction. Please show a reaction. Yes, I see there's a heart already coming up. Who else? Then Sebastian is clapping. Lars is showing his thumbs up. So everyone try to react on this one so that you can, so because we are not seeing you and we would like to see your reactions, and that's a fantastic feature there. So the other feature that is very, very important is the come on stage feature, I call it. So we have the opportunity to discuss interactively together. The interactive discussion is possible only for the people on the stage. Right now you see Max on the stage and myself as the host of this LinkedIn audio. But I would like to take you also to this stage, and therefore there should be somewhere a hand raise feature. So let's try someone to raise their hand, just to check, whether the hand raising functions. Yeah, I see now Mert has raised, Philip has raised, and Manish has raised. Okay, you can take your hands down again, unless you want to join our stage here, which you're of course welcome to. So let me introduce you first of all to Composites Lounge. Maybe you have come across Composites Lounge the first time now. You've seen an invitation, my announcement panels here on LinkedIn. Composites Lounge is a purely LinkedIn composites community. I guess you all guys, everyone knows Jack in Paris, then the former Composites for Europe, supposed to be in Stuttgart, that has now during the pandemic closed and shut down its doors. And there are many expos and event formats available down there. What sets us apart is this is really a purely LinkedIn community, and we have a group, and you're all invited to that group. It started out as a German-speaking group, but slowly but surely we are opening up it for the international community as well. CLC, what are our activities? CLC is the Composites Lounge Conference, which we will conduct again in January 2023. Why January? As you know, Jack is typically in March. Now next year it will be in April, because they are trying to fit their schedules again. So it will be still in April, but typically they are in March. So we will be opening the Composites season with our Composites Lounge Conference. Then comes next, of course, Jack in Paris. Then there is a new conference format in Germany called LightCon, that will be most probably beginning of July, latest or earliest end of May. And then there are some formats in September, October, November. So we are not trying to interfere with these other events, but we would like to be our standalone LinkedIn community event that will be in January. We will be hosting this Composites Lounge Conference in January, as I said, 2023, and we are looking for sponsors. And towards the end of this LinkedIn audio, I will not go now into the details. Towards the end of this LinkedIn audio, I will show you some possibilities to become a speaker and a sponsor. So if you have composites solutions, it can be recycling, it can be any composite process, then you are welcome to apply as a sponsor and a speaker to that event. Then what we also do is we have panels that we conduct on the famous exhibitions. Maximilian was my panelist on the ILA, that is the International Luftfahrt in Germany, so the aerospace exhibitions. And of course we do community posts, social posts, LinkedIn Lives that are very, very popular in the German-speaking countries. So this is the Composites Lounge in a nutshell. If you look around, you will see a link towards the group. We have a group that is more internal, so you are under like-minded people. And then we have a corporate site here on LinkedIn where anyone can follow, so that is more public than the group. Okay, so that's it for now for the housekeeping. I spent quite a while on this so that you can become a little aware about the possibilities on this LinkedIn audio. And I guess now we are more or less completed. Boarding is completed and we can start with our discussion. And Maximilian and I would like to, start off this talk with you guys. And then, as I said, anytime you feel you have something to contribute, or you have a question, or you have a certain comment, raise your hand and I will take you on board. Vaishak, you have still your hand raised. You can leave it raised if you want to be on stage, or if it's just a trial, then please take it off like you did right now. Okay, so for starters, I have taken a few magazine articles, and I would like to introduce you to a few facts that are coming up regarding the recycling. So there is a magazine that is called the Naval Architect, which I'm getting every month, and it's a very, very interesting one. Anyone who is active in the marine and naval industry should subscribe for this free magazine. And there is an article by Daniel Johnson who speaks about zero emission vehicles or vessels opening the way for a new style of cruising. And he has interviewed the Northern Explorer founder and CEO Rolf Andre Sandvik, and he's right now disrupting the industry with state-of-the-art green maritime innovation, he calls it. And one of the key pillars of his green maritime innovation is the extensive use of recyclable materials in the boat and yacht and shipping industry. So that is one point I would like to discuss with you, the extensive use of recyclable materials. And Maximilian, I would like to ask you in a nutshell, if you can answer this, how would you break down the matter and the definition of recyclable materials?
Well, the typical definition of recycling is that you take a material that you've used in any product process or as an ancillary product, and during a process, it could be mechanical, chemically, or even just reuse, you extend its useful life by a couple months up to a couple decades, right? So one example would be you have some plastic, you break it down in a chemical process, you use the raw materials as an input material into formulating a paint, you put it on your wall, and it's going to be on the wall useful for you until you either repaint it or tear down the house. So that's sort of the typical definition. This definition usually does not talk about at what area in the value of the product it actually is. So if I'm taking a fuselage of a composites airplane, it's, yes, I can recycle it in the sense of I can grind it up and I can use it as a compounding material or a filler in a compounding material to then make a tennis racket, a bicycle frame, or parking, like a park bench or a fence post out of it, but I'm not retaining the same high performance value of that material in this process. Or not necessarily, and that's not the point about the definition of recycling. It's really just about reusing the material, extending its useful life by anything between a couple months to a couple decades.
So you have mentioned different recycling processes. Can you swiftly break it down? Or is there anyone in the audience who is in the recycling industry or has some experience? You're welcome now to join us on the stage. So, Maximilian, what kinds of recycling processes do you know from your practice at RAMF?
So at RAMF, on our tooling side, we've started using recycling about 28 years ago, because in the production of tooling boards, we do have quite a bit of chips and offcuts that are just created during the process. And the whole background of the company RAMF was to formulate these tooling products to increase the sustainability that is used in the model building, to get away from tropical woods that were used and to have more stable products. So creating a lot of chips and wasting them was not really in line with the vision of the founder. So I guess at 28 years ago, they invested in a chemical recycling process to use the chips that we create in our process and break them down into the polyols, and then those polyols get reused in the manufacturing of the new tooling boards again. So that actually is an example where we do retain the value, or we regain the value of the recycled product, of the outcome of the recycling process, and we feed it in at the same level of performance into the starting material. So we are not, if you look at it from a value chain, we are not in a downward spiral. On a performance level, we are actually in a circular economy in that case.
Okay, so you have a chemical process then in place. Did I get it right? Or is it a combination of mechanical and chemical?
It's primarily a chemical process. Well, the input material are chips and offcuts, but the recycling process itself is a chemical pyrolysis process.
Yeah. So there is another magazine that really comes to my mind here is the latest Czech Composite magazine that revolves around sustainability has been circulated now. If you are interested, you can get it on as print and as a digital version. Have a look at it. On page number 8, I'm just reading it to you. There is a gentleman who is also talking about the racing yachts. The life cycle of composite materials in yachting and the marine industry is at the heart of today's concerns, he says, and particularly for IMOCA class craft. What strategy is pursuing? What are they pursuing in this area? So there is an interesting interview there, and also they are setting out a quantity of recyclable materials to be integrated into the construction process. So you see, the yachting, boating, and maritime industry is all about recyclable materials, and this is a very, very strong trend here. And to what you have said about using these materials that are supposed to go into the production and that are maybe leftovers, there is an article in the Composites magazine called Targeting Carbon Neutrality, written by Emily Youngking and Vandita Pai Paranyape. They are both staff scientists of tech competencies specialties at SABIC. So this is not an advertising, okay? This is I'm just taking here citations from these both ladies, and they have mentioned here, new engineering thermoplastic compounds with pre-consumer recycled glass fiber content accelerate the transition to circularity. And they are explaining basically what the pre-consumer means in the sense that pre-consumer materials are materials that have never reached the final stage of the production. So is that something that you apply also at your company, where you are using, like, you know, leftover raw materials?
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, yes, but we have quite a wide variety of processes. So in some cases, we can reuse the materials, we can redirect the materials. But in specific, when we look at our sustainability strategy for the next 10, 20 years, it's looking at every single aspect of the process, and that starts with our office stationery and materials, all the way to vacuum bagging materials in our composites production, to sealing tapes and everything. Like we need to make sure to optimize where we can. We are also pretty heavily on the composite side, on the manufacturing side in the aerospace industry. There is areas where I think we have a much longer path to actually reaching a good, fully sustainable product. So in the meantime, we need to optimize as much and reduce the material utilization of maybe less than ideal input materials as much as we can by the use of efficient optimization, and use all the technologies that we have out there to optimize design, to just use less and improve the bottom line. Even if we cannot fully use a recycled product, we need to then make sure that we reduce the consumption of non-recycled product as much as we can.
So is anyone in the stage or in the auditorium, in the audience, who would like to come and talk with us on the stage about this, you know, pre-consumer part of the business? I know these, for example, the glass fiber production, producing needle mats always produces 10% of waste. Birgit, maybe you are from the non-woven industry. Can you explain us how this, you know, the trimming, for example, at the edge of such a non-woven material, how that becomes reality, and how you could recycle those in the process? So if you're still there, please raise your hand, unmute yourself, and come to the stage, and let's talk about non-woven fibrous materials, if you like. So Birgit seems not to be listening actively, or not finding the raise hand stuff. So let me continue then with the next point. Maximilian, have you come across about the terms recycling and upcycling, and how would you differentiate both of them?
Well, I mean, like I said at the beginning, the definition of recycling is to extend the useful life of it. Upcycling is usually in the upcycling, it's a much less formally defined term, and there is a lot more, I guess, like everybody has a bit of a different understanding of it. And if somebody can point me to a generally accepted formal definition of it, I'd be very interested in hearing it. The general consensus on upcycling seems to be, I'm taking and I guess the overused example of that is, I'm taking a shipping pallet and I'm making furniture out of it. And I remove it from its initial use, and maybe it's at the end of its useful life in its initial use, and then I'm taking it apart, I'm making a coffee table out of it, and it's got another 10 years in somebody's living room. In what sense we can do upcycling on a broad industrial scale, I think is a question. We see it in PET bottles that are reused into foams that then are quite commonly used in wind turbine blades, for instance. So I think that's something where we could say that is an upcycling process, or generally accepted, where we actually go maybe further up in the value that we gain. throughout the process. But to your earlier point about, well, recycling and sustainability, etc., maybe we should also shift our focus and say those pre-consumer products or even the consumer products that we are able to upcycle, is there not better ways to actually not even create those in the first place? Like, do we need that many PET bottles, or is there better alternatives around that?
Absolutely, yeah. So, absolutely, yes. Thanks, Maximilian. So, my question to the audience is, thank you for Manish for your reactions, but I would like to continue this dialogue with you guys further. Do you have an opinion on recycling of composites material? For example, is it difficult to, recycle composite materials, or is it only a mindset problem that we are having as an industry? I would like to know about your opinion on recycling composites. Is it really that difficult? Please raise your hand and unmute, and I will take you on stage. Okay, Varun is raising hand. And Michael. So I will also take Michael and Varun on stage. Michael, please unmute yourself.
Hello. Okay. So thank you for the question. Just to introduce myself, I'm the founder of Industry 5.0, and for 9 years I do industrial upcycling on a global scale in 109 countries. So regarding the composite materials, yes, it is possible, especially because it's composite. The upcycling, it's a better methodology because you do not have to divide the separate groups of the materials. So one of the technology which is used for, of course, not for all, but for many composite materials is heat compression technology.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain that technology for us a bit, Mike?
It's quite easy. It's quite old. Generally, you make a form and you put the material inside the form, and using the heat, you produce a product out of it. So it can be a small product, or one example from Czech Republic. I'm speaking from Czech Republic. Processing of Tetra Pak packaging in combination of plastic bottles. It's produce a construction material for light buildings. So generally walls, which are certified and can be used. In India, they do the same technology using dangerous waste out of hospital, which is a lot of composite materials of a different form and shape. And they produce very similar material used again for the construction. In UK is produced similar as well. So you use heat and form, and you use a press to produce a product out of the composite material. This is just one of the examples.
Yeah, that is a great introduction, Michael, but I would like to go further with you on this one. How do you perceive the results? Do you have any experience with these components? What sort of results do they give?
These flat material, which is produced in Czech Republic, it's used in a standard construction industry. So you use it as a, I just don't know, I do not remember the name of this. In German is plasterboard, I think. So it's used the same way because it's certified. It has even some improve qualities, like higher fire retentancy, if I do remember, and one more, I do not remember exactly. I'm not in the office. I have it in the office.
Yeah, no problem. And would you say this is more inclined towards fiberglass reinforced composites, or can you do that also with carbon, aramids, and even plant-based fibers?
You can do it with many. We do it with, for example, with fibers from coconut tree. we do very similar heavy-duty shipping pallets in Algeria. So you can do it with many. I do not say with all, because right now I have a project for glass fiber processing, and glass fiber behaves slightly different. So it's not possible for all, but I will say for majority of materials, about 90% you can process similar way.
Which is good news, because then this is quite a universal process. So let me greet now Manish Kurana. Manish, tell me, from where are you? What's your role, and what is your opinion on recycling composites?
Thank you, Ilke, and hello to everyone from Delhi. I lead the experts community management at an expert network company called Business Experts Network, BEN, based out of Singapore. Now, coming to the question on upcycling of composites, actually, I just had, in addition to Michael's point, which he was talking about the upcycling of Tetra Pak materials. So, construction material is definitely one. Secondly, what I have increasingly been seeing, at least in the Delhi NCR area, is there is a increased usage of those kind of Tetra Pak based tiles to make furniture. So it is being used. The furniture can be for different places. Could be for outdoor, general, let's say residential parks, or it could even be for offices. Let's say sitting lounges or waiting areas in certain offices, or certain other commercial complexes. The other example on upcycling of composites, which I want to share, was, and I think this is also a slightly old methodology. I mean, old, I mean that this has been in prevalence for quite some time. This is for multi-layer flexible packaging. So the process is pyrolysis, which is then used to kind of recycle or upcycle the material. And I think Maximilian was right when he was trying to convey the difference between upcycling and recycling. Upcycling is really about making a better value product out of whatever your existing raw material or the waste material is. For example, if we take PET, or general plastic, let's say plastic which has been sourced from your sneakers or anything of that sort, which is not food grade basically. So there are technologies available, yes, again with chemical processing, which can even make those plastics food grade. So there is a process that can really reinforce the strength of the fibers in that material, and that can gain the certification of being a food safe material as well. So these are just the points which I thought I could share.
May I just shortly mention the difference between recycling and upcycling, which is very clear. Recycling is connected to waste. So you have to firstly produce waste, then you can recycle. So you downgrade the material or product, and then you recycle. Upcycling run without waste. So you do not upcycle waste, you upcycle material or product. And this is the biggest difference. This is what I do for 9 years. So we have prevented over 1 million metric tons of products to become waste, thanks to industrial upcycling. So this is the biggest. So very clear, understandable. For recycling, you have to produce waste first, and you have a cost. For upcycling, you do not produce the waste, but you use the material or product to upgrade, so to put more value in it. So this is upcycling. So sorry to step in, but I think it's needed to be explained.
Wonderful, excellent, Michael. This is the way. This is the kind of discussion I want to have with the community. so that we get also the definitions right, because there's often a misunderstanding of the different kinds of definitions out there. Michael, let me you, Manish, and Maximilian ask one after the other while we are here in international community. How is the market in the Czech Republic with composites right now? So, generally spoken, not only recycling.
In Czech Republic, have this market still the waste companies in hands, which means they don't care about the processing, because generally recycling is a good idea in the wrong hands, and it's a lie, so it does not work. And this is why the composites are processed as frequently as hazardous waste in some way, and they are sorry, I have to take the microphone. So they are put on a landfills at the moment, so the situation is not good in Czech Republic.
Okay, that's not so desirable right now. So Manish, how is it in India? The composites economy, is it growing? Is it on hold right now? How would you assess it? And if you have someone in the audience, please raise your hand from another country. I would like to have an average feeling here for the composite industry in the world. Manish.
Yeah, sure. So in India, in fact, in general, the recycling industry is still at a nascent stage. It is growing though. It is growing at a rapid pace because the current establishment has taken a lot of steps to encourage all the stakeholders, the private industry or the government organizations taking support of all the NGOs, etc., to drive the whole waste management agenda forward. So yeah, it's still at a very, very nascent stage. It's a highly fragmented market. Recycling is still sort of done in extremely old school ways. But yeah, it's seeing a rapid progress.
Old school ways. Old school ways. Explain me what are old school ways, and also what sectors are you talking about right now in India that look into these processes?
Sure. So primarily, as per my understanding, the recycling is limited to still the basic materials such as plastic waste or glass or metals. I'm not so sure about what's happening with the biomedical waste. Michael did mention that it's used to sort of it undergoes some heat compression, etc. Those kind of processes. But yeah, the old school ways being that let's say the PET plastic waste kind of goes through the same processing of getting into the form of pellets. Metals, the same thing. It just gets molten and impurities are removed, and it still sort of serves as the same thing. Same with glass, probably. So the new innovations are probably going to be seen in let's say e-waste categories, where some companies, for example, there is a startup which is called Extra Carbon, which has come in and they are focusing on e-waste. They would like to mine, let's say, all the PCBs for precious metals like gold or silver in them. So this is sort of the scenario here.
Okay, that's wonderful. Michael, I have muted you, but now if your microphone is okay, do you want to add something?
Yes, I do fully agree with the information from Manish, because India is in my network with other countries as well. I can add that quite interesting development is in biochar production, which is fascinating, that some of the composite materials can be turned into biochar using superheated steam generally. It's a technology which is being tested in or developed in Australia, tested in Japan. and there is a chemical recycling as well. In some countries, we can take one example, which is right now being discussed a lot of, which is the solar modules generally, which are being considered to be the big next thing, additionally to the wind turbine blades, which will cause troubles. But again, for both, the recycling is the best. The upcycling is the best way. So there is development. The development is very slow, and the advantage of upcycling is that you can do it immediately without big cost. Generally, just turn it to a different product or different usage style of a product. And I am speaking for 109 countries, so it's quite a good share of the market.
Yeah, it's clear that you are in a leading position. Max, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I just maybe it's semantics and details, but I mean, I think the way that you are using the term upcycling and differentiating it from recycling, maybe it's just details, but I mean, you talk about a material conversion, but you usually wouldn't do that material conversion until you reach the end of the useful life of that wind turbine blade, of that PET bottle, of that hospital waste, whatever it is. So that's the same for recycling as well. You have the useful life of one product in a certain stage, is at its end of its life, and then you try to through a chemical, mechanical, thermal process to transform it into a different product that gives it extends its useful life of that input material, right?
I don't see it exactly this way, because a lot of things which are being recycled at the moment are recycled single-use products. But a single-use does not mean that after one and single-use the product is unusable. 74% of wooden pallets are being wasted without any damage. So it's not about the damaging or end of life. It's about the predefined market demand of end of life, but it has nothing to do with reality. But we can have a discussion another time.
That depends on how you define useful life, right?
Exactly.
Economical use.
Yes.
It could be it's out of spec use, whatever it is, right? So yeah. I think in Spirit we talk about the same thing, and it's about being more mindful about the resources we have and transform them into something useful as we are, and trying to be as cognizant with the input materials as we can.
Yes.
Adilka, to your question about the recycling in the different geographic locations, for speaking for Canada and the US, basically it's similar to the other countries as well. It is in its infancy, but certainly the pressure from the industry, from the customers, is there to reach. Maybe the pressure doesn't necessarily come from recycling, but recycling or upcycling is one of the tools to get there. The pressure is coming from the sustainability, from the life cycle assessments that we are seeing coming through, being flown down from OEMs down the different tier supplier levels, where that is the economic and also, I guess, social pressure that will have to, that puts the pressure and the need behind improving the recycling, upcycling efforts to actually reach those sustainability goals. And they can be carbon footprint based, they can be whatever the metric is behind them. But the way it's currently measured, if I can use a recycled product or an upcycled product in my process, I am significantly reducing my carbon footprint in my life cycle assessment. So that is certainly one of the mechanisms right now that is driving the growth in that whole industry and the effort in the research that goes into it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Maximilian, Manish, and Michael. I would like to conclude then slowly this first part of this LinkedIn audio, which was really inspiring. But before I go on to the second part, which is about our upcoming event in January, Max, Manish, and Michael, this will be transferred in a audio podcast that will be published on Spotify, Deezer, and so. Is that okay for you guys? If so, please show your thumbs up, or just say no, then I will not display it.
It's fine for me. I am used to it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much then, gentlemen. You can stay on stage. I'm asking a final time the audience if there's anyone, interested in coming up on the stage and, contribute to the topic of recycling, upcycling, the chemical processes, the fibers that are pre-consumer processes. Please come up to the stage by raising your hand, and I will gladly take you on stage. And while I'm waiting for your hands to be raised, let me cite from the JEC Composites news bulletin, the magazine. There are upcoming events in September. There's the International Composites Summit from 21 to 22 September. I will be there, so if you are there, please thumbs up so that I know that there's also other people that I can meet in London. Other than that, there's China Composites, September 27 to 29. I will be not in China, but you guys, there is one. And then 28 to 29, there will be Composite Expo in Krakow, Poland, which is a newly coming up format for the Polish market. And then we got in October Türk Composite in Istanbul from October 6 to 8. Not to forget JEC Dach Forum. This will be in Augsburg on the November 29 to 30. I will be there again. And there's a new format from JEC in 23 coming up. That is the JEC Forum Italy. And I'm seeing Simonetta is there, and I guess Simonetta will be also at JEC Forum Italy. So maybe we couldn't meet in Paris, but maybe we can meet then in Bologna, because I will be also coming up there. Because the 2 days in Bologna, I can extend that to ITMA in Milano, where I will be also 1 or 2 days. So these are the JEC partners, and the ones that I know at least that are significant and leaders in the composite market, and I'm happy to mention all of them, because with some of them I have a close cooperation, and it's very appropriate to talk about them. So in our own hemisphere of Composites Lounge, as I mentioned, we will conduct a Composites Lounge Conference in January of 2023 as a upstart for the year 2023, and we are typically looking for session leaders because our format is a bit interactive and different to other conference formats. We are not only holding a format that is linear, but we of course underline the interaction of this LinkedIn community, that we will discuss composites like we do here in the LinkedIn audio. And there we will have a one-day Composites Lounge Conference that will be 1 day and comprise of 4 different sessions. The last one we had was about mobility, medical industry, we have sporting industry, wind industry. We have not yet finalized which topics we will have in the sessions. So we are talking right now with our primary partner, which will be hopefully announced also by next week. And once we are clear on our general topic, then you can also make up your mind. So there will be 4 session leaders, and then we will have for each session there will be speakers. One will do an impulse speech, we call this, just to get us going, to warm up the discussions. Then we will have pitching. So if you want to pitch your business, this is the opportunity, to pitch your business. Those speeches will be a little shorter than the impulse one, of course. And then we will invite everyone in that one session, to a panel and a panel host will be then asking your questions and putting everything together so we have a coherent topic here. So again, 4 sessions and about 5 to 6 session speakers. One is giving the impulse, the others are going to pitch, and then those session speakers will be in a panel. This we have done already 3 times now, and with an increasing success. Our last one was parented by Composites United, the world's largest composites association based in Germany, but they are also going international now, so you should also join and watch out for Composites United. This year will be a different partner. As I said, we will display that soon again. If you are interested, let me know. Just write me a DM and I'll get you more information, more detailed information about our upcoming Composites Lounge Conference. Okay, so I'm checking now once again the audience. I'm also saying thank you to the audience for listening to this very first LinkedIn audio in a live format. I'm not mentioning now the audience by name because this will be a podcast and I would need all of your consent to be on the podcast. So anyway, I will thank you so much, and we will keep in touch on LinkedIn. Be connected. If you are not connected, please send me your connection request. For me, it's often difficult to send connection requests because they are mostly at the limit or over the limit already, because I'm connecting with everyone and now got 29,000 followers. And from the composite industry alone, I have about 10,000 followers. So if you need help in getting you connected with anyone specific in a specific field, let me know. I have very dear good friends here in the Composites Lounge with 1,300 experts, and I can introduce you to this fantastic, full, vibrant community. With Maximilian, we went to the panel in Berlin. Then I had even a LinkedIn Live with him from the Paris show floor. So we're also having not only serious business, but we also have lots of fun by creating content. And now let me tell you finally why I'm doing this. In the years 2000, maybe you remember, all you guys yourself, composites were the latest new hot thing. Everyone was talking about advanced materials and composites being the new lightweight product solution in the future. So this went on for a couple of years, but I have seen the interest has come down over the years because the automotive industry has not really taken up the lightweight technologies idea, but we have also to consider that composites are much more than lightweight. They are corrosion resistance and all the other features that comes with composites that will fill another LinkedIn audio for the future where we can talk about the different things. But I felt that composites was going down in interest with the end users. And when I started in the year 2018 with LinkedIn, becoming all in LinkedIn, I said to myself, I would like to get composites back into the consciousness of the R&D, of the researchers, designers, constructors, the software engineers, the coders that make simulation for composites, for example, to get composites back into life, because I believe composites are a great sustainable solution for the future. And I would like to ask you all, please follow me, support my initiative here. And if you want to make a post out of this LinkedIn audio, please feel free to do that. The more we talk about composites, the better we have this topic into the mind of the people that still think steel is the solution. Steel is a solution. Yes, sure, it's thousands of years in existence, but we have to be lightweight in the future if we want to put our decarbonization, if we want to be fit for 55 with the European Commission. We are talking here CO2. Germany right now, imagine it, I mean, you're coming from all sorts of countries in the world, is burning hot right now. We have 34 degrees Celsius. and it's so hot during the day. We have a climate change right now, and we as a composite industry, we can really contribute to reach decarbonization, make vehicles lighter, but maintaining the strengths, of course. Yeah. So this is my call to action. This is my why I'm doing this. Of course, there's also a business interest, as you may imagine, but that business interest I'm having is to give myself a personal brand, being known in the composite industry, and from my let's say personal brand awareness, I can give you a lot of awareness for your companies and for your actions and endeavors that you are pursuing with recycling, upcycling, sustainable solutions, and all the composite solutions that are here to make our world a little greener. So I have now Varun on the stage. Varun, thanks for coming on the stage. Anything you would like to add, then please unmute your microphone and talk.
Yeah, okay. Good evening, all. This is Varun. I am a wind blade professional. I am based at India. So already you have summarized on all points as came out. So now is the end of the session. So I will also to emphasize, definitely we have to focus on more recyclability and upcyclability things. And parallel, we should also design our product like that, where we can optimize the material consumptions and trim less, like somebody told about trim less things. So that also will help to generate waste, because composite is generally thermoset materials. I am talking about especially wind blades. So I think wind blade is the biggest and highest weight composite component in society. So nowadays also our industry is also using some like instead of thermoset resins, they are now using thermoplastic resins. So wind blade is also maybe in future will be recyclable, possibility will be there. So and so till then develop more techniques. So I also want to emphasize about design the process where generate least wastage in process also. So that is my point I would like to share here.
Thank you so much, Arun. This is, of course, very valuable, because the wind industry, I would think, is the number one user of the fibers and the
yeah. Yes. This is the biggest component.
Absolutely, yeah. So one rotor blade is about what, 8 to 10 tons of fiberglass only, and then how much resin do you use for one rotor blade?
See, 70-30% ratio is 70% glass, 30% is resins.
Okay. So when you got like 8 tons, then you add another 2 to 3 tons for the resin, more or less, yeah?
Resins, yeah.
And
so
how long?
Wind industry.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, please, you tell me.
Yeah. No, my question is, how long are the longest blades that you're making?
See, about India, we are making around 70-80 meter length blade here. But if we discuss about globally, so even up to 100 meter blade is reached for offshore turbines.
Yeah, I read that the other day. Yeah, it's incredible, right? 100.
Yeah.
We had this discussion at ILA, the aerospace exhibition, and one of my questions to Norbert, will be a air taxi operator in future, was, because he used to work for a wind company. I said, what can the aerospace industry learn from the wind industry? Do you know how he answered, and do you have an idea? Go ahead.
Oh, you can tell better.
Yeah. He said the wind industry is in the mass production. Yeah, so you have already managed a mass production, and the electrical planes that will be commuting in the future by 2030, hopefully, that can learn a lot from the wind blade manufacturing.
Yeah. That's why I emphasized for design optimizing the process where material consumption is less, trim less things, and so because we can't avoid the use of composite materials, so it is developing material. These are advanced material and latent material. Latent material, so still process are developing for recyclable things. Till then, we can manage like that. That's why.
That's nice. Very nice. Varun. Okay, thank you so much. I'm looking at the time now. So we've scheduled till 7:30 our time. What is the time in India right now? Is it 10:30, 11?
11 p.m.
11 p.m. So it's nearly midnight. So the more I thank you so much for participating. I see in the audience also other Indian friends. Yeah, thank you for really watching at this midnight time, this LinkedIn audio, or at least speaking and listening. Yeah, it may be that you are there in your pajama, but this is the great thing about the audio lives. You don't need to wash your hair and brush your hair and make yourself up. You can listen it from the comfort of your bed or sofa or couch. I thank you so much. I'm coming now to the end. Maximilian, I would like you to give us a final wording. If you have a call to action, what would you say? What should people do right now after listening to this?
Yeah, I think quite a bit of it has already been said. Is don't just think about how can I, like, what can I do once I have my my material that I need to recycle, upcycle, whatever I need to do with it. Think about it from the get-go to use as little as possible and get all your partners involved early enough that you get the full benefit of maybe your material supplier has some solutions that are better suited. Maybe there is a bit of a qualification effort associated with it, but open your mind to what the industry has been doing, what neighboring industries have been doing, and yeah, work together. Work with your suppliers, with your customers, with your partners, and engage them. Go to those events that you listed. You missed the one that's coming up in the US in October, the CAMEX, and engage with your suppliers and reconnect with your friends that we haven't been able to see in the last 2 years. And yeah, work together. I think we can reach the sustainability. I think yeah, the current heat waves in the US and in Europe last week have shown that there is something happening, and we need to address it today and not tomorrow.
For sure. So thanks for your, yeah, for sure. Thanks for your concluding remarks, Maximilian. Once again, thank you. Thanks, Manish. Thanks, Varun. And Michael, he disappeared from the stage. I guess he's in the audience, or he had to jump out. It looks like he had to jump out. Thanks for the audience for listening to us. My final question to you guys is, did you find this useful? Please then give us a thumbs up or a clap or a heart. Okay. So
very polite audience.
Very polite audience. Everyone except one or two likes it, and yeah, now we got everyone likes it. That's wonderful, and this calls like for a continuance. I will do now a summer break during August because I really can't cope with the heat right now in my upper floor of my house. I'm just below the roof. And for the quality of the sound, I have even switched off air conditioning and the ventilator and everything. So I'm sweating here right now. I'm good to go for a beer right now. I don't know about you guys. Enjoy your evening. Thanks for joining, and see you soon again, or listen to you soon again. Bye bye.